Well, I mean, the government's one big pyramid scheme, if you're asking me.
Yeah, well, you can tell me better than anybody.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more people who are retired and that live for a long time and get retirement payments. So the future obligations. So however bad the financial situation is right now for the federal government, it'll be much worse in the future. At the risk of being a buzzkill here.
Did you see...
So we better fix what we got right now, because if it's bad now, it's going to be much worse in the future.
There was an interview with this woman who was a whistleblower.
Yeah.
Did we ever find out if that was true?
There's so many whistles being blown. It's hard to keep track.
A lot of whistles. This one lady...
It was only in one state. It was very specific instance,
Right,
I believe.
but it was using Social Security money, correct? That was
I
her.
don't know.
That was her allegation. So what she was alleging was that she was in charge of turning illegal immigrants into clients. That's what they would call them, and that she would go to them and try to ask them, "Do you have a headache? Do you have back problems? If you do, now you can be permanently disabled. You get permanent disability, so you get Social Security for life."
Yes.
Yeah.
No, not just Social Security, but disability, which is even more.
Right, and you get them on the taxpayer dole right away the moment, and they're illegal aliens.
Yes. Oh, so if I were to say, like, what's at the heart of the sort of, like, why is the Democrat propaganda machine so fired up to destroy me? That's the main reason. The main reason is that entitlements fraud, that includes like Social Security, disability, Medicaid, entitlements fraud for illegal aliens is what is serving as a gigantic magnetic force to pull people in from all around the world and keep them here. Like basically, if you pay people at a standard of living that is above 90% of Earth, then you have a very powerful incentive for 90% of Earth to come here and to stay here. But if you end the illegal alien fraud, then you turn off that magnet, and they leave, and they stop coming, and the ones that are here, many of them will simply leave. And if that happens, they will lose a massive number of Democratic voters.
And if it didn't happen, they would turn those people into voters.
Correct.
Which they were trying to do.
They're already turning them. So in New York State, illegal aliens can already vote in state and city elections. A lot of people don't know that. They're trying to fight that. They're trying to stop that, but they're currently, I think it's like 600,000 are registered to vote, illegal aliens in New York.
That is wild.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at, say, FEMA, like the agency that was paying for illegal aliens to stay at luxury hotels in New York was FEMA. That's an agency that's meant to support Americans in distress from natural disasters, was paying for luxury hotels for illegals in New York.
It's true. Yeah.
That's a fact.
Fact.
They're literally, like, when we stopped that payment, we stopped all those money, because that's obviously an insane way to spend taxpayer money. New York sued the federal government to get the money. So you can just look at their lawsuit. They were sending that money even after President Trump signed an executive order saying it needs to stop. They still pressed send on $80 million to luxury hotels in New York. Your tax money went to pay for illegal aliens in luxury hotels in New York from an agency that is meant to help Americans in distress from natural disasters.
Right, and I would like to
That's
know how
fucked up.
much. And I would like to know how much they spent on North Carolina and how much they spent on Maui.
Yes, exactly. What's actually happening is they're buying voters. That's really what's happening. It's like a giant voter fraud scam. They're importing voters, and it's really just a matter of time. So, like, a lot of people have trouble believing this, but the more you look at it, the more you will realize just how much of a problem this is, and how it's not just real. It is an attempt to destroy democracy in America. That's what, in my view, it is what it really is. Like, if you take the sort of 7 swing states, like, often the margin of victory there is like maybe 20,000 votes. If you put 200,000 illegals in there, and they have like a 80% likelihood of voting Dem, and it's only a matter of time before they become citizens, then those swing states will not be swing states in the future. And if they're not swing states, we'll be a permanent one-party state country. Permanent deep blue socialist state. That's what America will become.
And that was the game plan.
That was the game plan. That is still the game plan.
And so
they almost succeeded. If the machine of which the Kamala puppet was the representation had won, that's what would have happened. The reason I went so hardcore for Trump was because, to me, this was a fork in the road, a very obvious fork in the road. If they had another 4 years, they would legalize enough illegals in the swing states to make the swing states not swing states. They would be blue states. Then they would win the presidential. They'd win the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They would then make D.C. into a state. Maybe Puerto Rico, get 4 extra senators, pack the Supreme Court. So then you'll have the House, Judiciary, Senate, and presidency, all blue. And then they will keep importing more illegals to cement that outcome. Basically what happened in California.
Jesus Christ.
It would have been the end. That's why I went so hardcore for Trump. It was otherwise been the end. And that's why the Democrat machine is so intent on destroying me.
It's just so fascinating that people can't see this.
I mean, I invite people to do their research. The more they do their research, the more they will see that what I'm saying is absolutely true. It's like, just do the research.
Yeah. It's such a bad idea, even for the Democrats, which is what they don't understand. Like, it's the same
it's not
people.
ultimately going to work out.
No, it's the same people.
Yes.
It's just they're doing it under the guise that they're the kind, compassionate, progressive people.
Yes.
But the same outcome takes place. It's just about control. They probably institute some central bank digital currency and some social credit score system.
And censorship, of course.
Yeah, of course. Well, that was the big fear coming into this election, was that if they can't censor things, like we talked about it before, but there was 2 major forks in the road. The big one was Trump didn't get shot.
Yep.
The other big one was you buy Twitter.
Yeah.
And if those 2 things don't happen, the whole world looks different.
Yes.
Yeah.
We don't want to be on that timeline.
No, we don't want to have only one side represented, because guess what? They will hijack that side, whatever it is. They will hijack that side and use it for money and control. And that's what it's all about. It's not about good people versus bad people. It's a bullshit shell game.
Yeah. I mean, I think these things are actually, it's easy to understand if you look at basic incentives. The basic incentive here is the more illegals that the Democrats can bring in, the more likely they are to win. So that's what they're going to do. That's what they have been doing. And it worked in California. California's supermajority Dem. And look at all the companies that are leaving California.
Yeah.
I mean, In-N-Out just announced they're leaving, their headquarters leaving California.
They're moving to Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and California made healthcare free for illegals.
Yeah.
As of last year. So, and that, obviously that's a gigantic magnet for more illegals. And this is not a thing you can solve simply with money, because what happens is you simply have more patients than a doctor can possibly see. And you can't just, make doctors out of nothing. So sometimes people are like, oh, it's just a money thing. No, it takes a long time for somebody to become a doctor, 30 years. And so what actually happens in California is that there are too many patients for the doctors to see. So then the average citizen in California suffers as a result. Now, the elite in California are fine because they have private doctors. They can just pay for the best doctors. So the elite in California are doing fine, but your average citizen in California is not doing fine. And the tax burden for healthcare for illegals was supposed to be $3 billion. I think they now estimate it's $9 billion. But that number will scale to infinity, basically. It's like, why not?
Right.
Like, why not? If you need any operation at all, come to California and have it be free.